Hi guys. It is 11:33 before p.m. the night before my Calc AB test. In the AP test, so I'm spending my time really wisely. But no, I realized I haven't uploaded in a while, and I don't know. I wrote a poem that I want to share, and I'm gonna talk about my experience as a poet. I don't know. This is all off the cuff. And hopefully someone derives something off of anything I say. That's the goal of poetry, I think. But anyways, so the other day I wrote this poem called "My Hand Hurts, So I'm Typing This Poem." I'm not the best at titling things, as you can see. Um, anyways, I've been reading a lot of Richard Seichen lately, so it's heavily inspired off of his style. I think maybe I'll do a little bit of analysis, explanation, whatever after. But I'll get into the reading and hopefully you guys like it. My hand hurts, so I'm typing this poem. I spoke 5 words to you today, if you remember them. It's okay if you don't. I don't remember what I say half the time, but today I know I spoke 5 words and nothing more and nothing less to you. I spoke about 40 words to my mother, who spoke 200 to me. I count. And I count. And there's a tree outside that reminds me of you. But I don't remember why. But yes, the 5 words I said with the conviction of a mountain lion on a hiker's path, or maybe of a puppy tripping over its tail. My paws had mud on them, but I washed it all off when I saw you, which is dumb because you've seen me in the sewers before. With me, you've been in the sewers. And when I told you I couldn't speak last night, you told me in 3 words that you heard me anyway. And I told me that I really wasn't going to speak today. But the sun was too bright at your game, and my neck hurts from looking down, and I read a book and burned my work, and I want you to know that. But I already said my 5 words. And nobody likes a blabbermouth. And I spoke to my journal, but the paper was too small and the ink smudged anyway, and I would mail it to you, but my hand cramped and I never finished it. I don't finish what I start. And I sleep in a vat of salt from the Himalayas, and at night I steal touches from my scissors. Tempting, but never do it. You caught me. I did once. The string was cut and I couldn't see well enough to tie it back together, and the red was an accident. Not enough white on my canvas to turn it pink. My favorite color. And now I'm writing this to you, and I don't know why, and I wake up and I'm a kid in a movie, and nothing is like TV anyway. How many words is this one? Too many. And it was worth it, I think. But nobody asks me. Richard Seichen is the worst. So that's the poem. I don't like, to me it's very clear, obviously, because I wrote it. But it's accurate to my life right now. I think it's about having a really hard time with communication, and vulnerability. I think I was about to say like the writer. I am the writer. I think a lot of like the way that I wrote this, you can't see this. Maybe I'll try and add it in the description of this video. But there are a lot of like the formatting is very different. It's not like a straight poem where it's like that. It's like one line's here and then the next is over here. And I think that adds a lot to it. And I think the composition kind of shows the descent of like, oh crap, things are turning around, and what even is this? As in, what is poetry? What is life? What is depression? I also think like the part that's like and I told me that I wasn't going to speak today, but the sun was too bright at your game and my neck hurts from looking down. And I read a book and burned my work, and I want you to know that. I think like that's like kind of like really wanting to have that vulnerability, like really like things in your day, things in your life where you're like that impact you and you have this urge to share. You know you should, you know you want to, but like something is stopping you, something is holding you back. And so when I say, but I've already used my 5 words of the day and nobody likes a blabbermouth, like that's kind of like stopping yourself of like engaging in what you want to and maybe really what you need to do. But yeah, so if you have any questions, I'll try and put the poem in the description. So if you have like the what's the word? I'm a poet and I don't know my words. Isn't that fun? If you have specific questions about like specific lines, hopefully that'll be there for you to ask me. This is gonna be a long video and nobody is gonna watch this part, but here we are. If you're here, thank you. So as some of you know, I am the Youth Poet Laureate for our county. It is a very fun job. I deeply enjoy it. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's a lot of emailing. Number one, that is something I haven't had to do as a child, and now it's so much of what I do. So there's a lot of emailing involved, but the main part of it is I go around to events sponsored by the county or sponsored by certain private businesses that request me, and I recite poetry, I read poetry, I answer questions about poetry and my process and being a writer. There's supposed to be an element of like, oh, make poetry accessible for kids, and I tried that, and I started a plan in, what was it, like December, and the county never approved it, and that was really sad for me and all the kids that are yearning for poetry. Sorry, kids, but I'm trying my best. And I think I've made this position more popular. I think they said they're getting a lot more applicants for the next year, so you know that's good. But the other day I did a reading for the Blackbird Poetry Festival at Howard Community College. Sorry, I'm mumbling. It's late. We're just getting through this, right? Yeah. And in that reading, I was one of the supporting positions. I wasn't the main event. The main event was Sarah Frickin' K. That was crazy. I like had to like really control myself and not fangirl. If you don't know who she is, look her up. Look up her TED Talk. Look up all of her poems. The way she recites is just like she flows into it, so you don't recognize that she's saying a poem at you, to you, until it's like halfway through, and you're like, I just love her style. I love what she writes about. I think it's so conversational for poetry. It's so like accessible. I think that like whatever stage you are, even if you are a beginner or like you poetry is your whole jam, like you can derive something out of it. Like she uses complex juxtaposition and all the big fancy words that everyone pretends that they know what they mean, and they don't actually. And then if you're a beginner, like you can understand like bigger themes and like kind of even like the variety of what poetry can be. Sorry, Sarah K. Glaze just comes naturally to me. But yeah, so I think like that was one of the highlights of my experience as the youth poet laureate. It's just like there was a crowd of 80 people, I think, at the first reading, and then like about 60 to 80. I'm bad at numbers. For the second one, and like just being in a room full of people who respect your art and are interested it's just life changing. I think there is a lot of pressure with this job to beautify my poetry and also write so much, and I actually have had to learn that that isn't necessary. The most important thing as an artist is to keep your artistic integrity, and I think while there are some, like, you do have to be able to read a room. Like, I do a lot of readings at like official county business with the county executive and all like the politicians, and they don't want to hear that poem that I just read, because then they don't understand it and they get depressed. And so like I will write some like happier stuff, or like if there's a specific theme I have to write, I don't have to, but I should write for, then I do that. Because I'm trying to reach an audience. But like I think that it is important to keep at least some part of your personal poetry your own. And so like I don't share every poem I write. I have a lot of stuff in my notes app that is just complete garbage, or honestly some I have that I think are really good that I don't think I will ever tell anyone. Just because having something personal is what keeps the fire kind of alive, because it is my own. And I don't have to worry about receiving judgment, or even, I love criticism, but sometimes I don't need that on certain poems. So some poems are just for the pure catharsis of it. But yeah, and then like for the whole poem quota thing, like obviously like there are a few poems where it's like, hey, or a few events where it's like, hey, can you write a poem about hope and converting this old building into a new building, and find some poetry in that, which is like, sure, that's pretty standard stuff. And so like if there's a specific need I had to meet, then I'm gonna meet that, kind of what I was saying before. But like I had an authors next door event for the Little Patuxent Review. One of the questions I was asked was, do you write every day? And honestly, the answer is no. I mean, there are some seasons where I maybe write every day. Those are the seasons where people should be really looking out for me. But I don't think there should be such a pressure to like produce. I think we have such a big problem with overproduction in this world and overconsumption. And if I'm feeling like the way I'm writing is just like so much and I'm losing quality based off of that, I'm trying to check a box or be performative in some way, then that's death of artistic integrity. And even if the poem is good, like I'm not connecting with it, why am I expecting other people to? And so I think if I'm inspired or if I absolutely need to write a poem, I write. But as someone who is not a professional poet, as someone who is engrossed at school and theater, and I have a wonderful, wonderful social life, this is true. I know I might seem like a loser, but I am not. 16 minutes of straight poetry talk, and I'm saying I'm not a loser. But yeah, I have a lot of other stuff going on in my life, and I don't think that I need to write every day, and I don't think that everyone needs to write every day, and I don't think everyone who is serious about writing needs to write every day, especially with a niche such as poetry. Like maybe if you're like writing a book, you write a little or you edit a little every day. That's different. With poetry, you can only shave so much of your soul off at a given time, I think. And you need that inspiration. That inspiration is what fuels it. And I mean, if you get inspired every day, that's great. And then I guess it kind of goes into then how much are you sharing it? Because I do believe it's important to share your poetry. It's important to, bear that and put that out into the world so that this dying art can not die. But as the artist, you have to understand kind of the boundaries of that, of like, well, if I have all this work, is it helpful to anyone if I am just loading it out into the world and saying, here, world, take my work, what do you think, all of it at once? And I mean, I don't want to speak for every situation, but I don't think for most situations that is good for anyone. I think we live in a very interconnected society, which has its perks. I think, in a way, it's made a lot of art accessible for a lot of people who maybe would not have connected with it without internet. But that also means that we're all trying to do more than we should as people. I mean, like I look at some influencers, not influencers, but like people who are like uploading every day and posting every day, and like they're living like celebrities when they have a 9 to 5, and that's not the kind of stress anyone needs to live that kind of double life. And I don't think anyone needs to subject all their art, all their poetry to critique and like the harshness of the world. So like just all at once. Sorry, it's getting late and I've been talking for 19 minutes and 8 seconds. But yeah, so main takeaways. I write crazy poetry. My poetry is depressing sometimes, often. Write when you're inspired, not because you feel like you need to. Don't feel compelled to always share, which is, I feel like, a crazy statement saying that like out loud. But I will add the 5th one. Don't be afraid to share. I know I just went on like a 15-minute tangent of like, oh, let's all hold back. But like, there is merit to sharing. There is a benefit to sharing your work. And it's just finding that balance of like, how much are you doing for yourself and how much are you doing for other people? Because it's perfectly fine to do it for other people, but that shouldn't be the only reason. And it's perfectly fine to do it for yourself, but that shouldn't be the only reason. I mean, I guess like if you're gonna have one be the only reason, I guess it's for yourself, but still, yeah, just finding that balance and understanding when it's appropriate. We're not savages. We can read a room. If we're at a reading for children, we're not gonna share our most deepest, darkest thoughts. That doesn't mean that your poetry is not valid. It doesn't mean your feelings are not real. It just means you're in a room full of children. And I think that can be applied to a lot of things in life. Hopefully I don't get canceled before I'm even famous. Because I'm getting famous off this video. Thank you to my friends who watched this. If you have made it this far, then you are a true friend. Because holy cow, 21 minutes of your life absolutely wasted. And if you're not a friend, you are now. Because holy cow, 21 minutes of your life is dedicated to me, a girl you don't even know. Comment your favorite poem that you've ever written or read. And if you liked my poem, or if you didn't, I'm okay if you don't like my poetry. I'm secure. Bye, guys. It's so dumb. Oh my gosh.